Now, let me move on to question 2. The purpose of question 2 is to test whether you understand the concept of collectively exhaustive, independent, and mutually exclusive. Let me recap on those concepts first before we start on the question. Two events are collectively exhaustive if they cover the whole sample space. Intuitively, rowing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 on the dice are collectively exhaustive outcomes. Two events are statistically independent if and only if the probability of the first event occurring does not affect the probability of the second event occurring. In other words, the probability of A and B occurring is the product of the probability of A and the probability of B. At the same time, the conditional probability of A occurring given B is the probability of A itself. Lastly, two events are mutually exclusive if they have no outcomes in common. For example, if let's say the number rolled in the dice is even and the number rolled in the dice is odd, those two events are mutually exclusive. Now we will go back to our question and see how we can use the concept. The question asks you, suppose you can draw two balls, clearly without replacement, from a jar and see what is the effect. Event A is the case where you draw two red balls, and event B is the case where you draw two green balls. Please don't mind the order of the balls occurring. So, the first question, the events A and B are not collectively exhaustive. This is true because there are still the probability of you drawing a green and a red ball, and also the same case of you drawing a red ball and a green ball. So, it is not collectively exhaustive. The events A and B are independent. That is not possible. For example, you can look at this 9. It says it is without replacement. Since it is without replacement, the events of A and B occurring will be affected. Assuming if you draw two green balls first, the probability that you can draw two red balls next, assuming that there's an even number of balls, would be different. Hence, as long as the balls are drawn without replacement, the events A and B will not be independent. Hence, 2 is false. The events A and B are mutually exclusive, as explained earlier, because they do not have any similar outcomes together. Hence, the answer is D.